when I find out that there are women that are attractive in my video games. I can't just stay by silently. I have to do something about it. You know, they're so mad at this lady, but Lady Dimitrescu was like 6 foot tall. If you wanted to talk about unrealistic standards, she was like, oh, she wasn't even 6 foot, was she? She was like 7 foot. Oh, Lady D is 9'6". I was still underestimating the queen. That's my bad. That's my bad. She was huge. That's my favorite part about her, okay?
Hey, what's up, guys? Right here. So it's a bright sunny day. I got a fresh cup of coffee next to me and another round of game journalists to laugh at. How could things get any better? Now, of course, you guys know the hysteria surrounding Stellar Blade, in particular, the design of its main protagonist, Eve. And despite the fact that this character is based on
Pretty
a 3D
girl!
scan of a real life Korean model, a bunch of weirdos on Twitter have openly admitted that they can't stop thinking of children whenever they look at this video game character, which is very odd. But it's not been just Twitter users. We've
Why do you think of children when looking at an adult, sexy woman? I feel like that's their problem.
seen a lot of game journalists go after
Hooey!
this game and its character designs, including IGN France. We talked about this the other day, where this author called Eve a doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman, which of course this statement would age very poorly when it was discovered that the director of Stellar Blade is not only married, but his wife is on the art team. And when this was pointed out to IGN France, they would edit their original article with this snarky reply, adding this bit here talking about the English speaking mob. Well, as it turns out, that was not the only journalist from IGN France having a meltdown over Stellar Blade.
No. See, I told you guys, this woman is too powerful. I don't think this is a problem in fantasy video games because it's like it's already understood that these aren't real people. That's the whole reason we like video games, all right? We like dissociating. We like being something we could never be. That's why we play games to defeat dragons, not to defeat doing taxes, because it turns out that's not as interesting. Have you seen some of her abilities and moves? She can do like kickflips. She never runs out of stamina. I mean, yeah, she's based off a real person, but like also I don't know why we're comparing her to real life things to begin with. Like, you want your games to be realistic? Bet. Your video game character has to go to the bathroom every 4 hours. No matter what you're doing, you have to stop and find the nearest porta potty. I don't care. I don't care if you're in a fantasy realm with unicorns, you got to find the fantasy, all right? It's really weird that we get so lost in the sauce over her and not other video game characters. Like chat mentioned, like Lady Dimitrescu. She's like 7 foot tall. She's got huge hanga belonga ladongas. And she's 7 foot tall. Like, why are we bent up out of shape like for this girl in particular? I don't know.
Pointed out by this user, Topic, who also provides some translations for this, they will show that another writer for IGN France was melting down over this character design. You can see their translated comments right here. So, yes, no problem. Go tell that to the women who are hit, killed, denigrated,
What?
or commit game end because they cannot live up to the fictional standards expected by men.
What the heck? What about the guys in video games that have 8 packs? Like, I don't know. I don't see any beer belly characters that you could play as the main character, you know, in our video games. I don't see a lot of chubby dudes as, you know, the protagonist in video games either. It's always some type of hidden agenda, right? That's what it always seems like with stuff like this. Like, there isn't one, dude. Calm down.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Stellar Blade is literally killing women, according to this journalist. Absolutely insane, okay?
I mean, if it helps any, at least look at the retweets, the likes. He's only got 2 retweets and 6 likes. Nobody even cares to listen to this dude.
And also this idea that it's all men creating these things. I mean, does it change your opinion if you discovered that some of the people on the art team for Stellar Blade are in fact women? Are you going to blame them too? But let's keep reading through this. The problem...
Chad, I'm sorry. I, too, like women that are even more unrealistic than this one based on a real person. I am, in fact, a Lady Dimitrescu enjoyer. In fact, with huge hongula dongas, add quality to my video game. I apologize. I apologize. I will get to the twit longer immediately.
Is not the sexy design itself, except that it sucks compared to others. But hey, that doesn't matter. Well, it mattered enough for you to mention it. Also, insane cope, by the way. But they go on to say, but the percentage of males who will only want this type of fictional body in reality, obviously we understand that this does not shock people who think that women are objects who must obey and be beaten.
Holy crap.
This design makes us sigh and roll our eyes, and we laugh at anyone who needs it, man or woman. But that's it. The certainly clashing remark in the text, which targets the entire creative process.
Jesus, I didn't know I was a supervillain for liking attractive girls in my video games. I didn't know I accumulated so much power over the human race in such a, just for having an opinion about a girl in a video game. Like, I'm about to be an unstoppable force, and I'm just sitting here. And the girl who is based on this character, like, she's like level 10,000. Like, what about the girls who enjoy this? I know plenty of girls who think the girl in Stellar Blade is beautiful and lovely. I used to think I was a good man. I paid my taxes. I was faithful. Then I found an anime girl attractive. No!
Not necessarily a specific designer or the game director. This is obvious to anyone who knows a little French. Only has this impact because a good portion of gamers have become too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy. Ah, yes, the patriarchy strikes again, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, please,
the first thing I want to ask this author, it's a very simple question. Are you okay? Like, are you okay? These are not the words of someone who is doing too well at the moment, okay?
Take your meds. Go see a psychologist, a psychiatrist. Like, ooh, step away from the keyboard, all right?
And I would ask who hurt you, but I think the answer would be the patriarchy, of course. But there's a lot of complaining and outrageous reaches here, basically saying that the designs of characters like Eve from Stellar Blade are literally getting women abused is absolutely outrageous. But also, let's acknowledge something else here. It's not just women, and men have these kind of standards placed in media as well. I mean, look at video.
That's what I just said. I'm glad we're mentioning it, because this is not something that is just with women in media or video games or like fantasy stuff. Like, men are like, they've got like 8-packs on their 8-packs in games, and that's not realistic.
Video game character designs of male characters. What do they typically look like? They're super
Giga
tall, masculine, with huge muscles, and people are unable to understand that this is not supposed to be a reflection of what you should look like.
Yeah.
It's just this idealistic design that's included in these games because it's fictional. You can make them in these idealized versions because it's not possible in real life or easy to do in real life. But this whole...
You can also wield like ginormous greatswords that would break your arm if you even tried to pick them up. Fart Rambos, like, it turns out that none of this is supposed to be taken as real life.
Thing is just very, very angry at Stellar Blade and making a very large deal out of this character design to a ridiculous point. However, IGN would do something unexpected. They would apologize for the situation. Now, of course, they wouldn't apologize for that previous set of statements from the other author, but they would apologize for the initial document that was uploaded to their site on IGN France.
Oh, I see.
So here's what they said. Recently, IGN France produced and published a preview of Stellar Blade containing an offensive passage that should have never been included. The text has now been modified, and here's our official apology to the staff at Shift Up Corporation. And they would continue. The original text of the Stellar Blade preview contains statements that were out of place. They added, while it was never our intention to disrespect either Shift Up or any of its employees or their work, we recognize that the sentence taken in its literal sense was out of place and we regret it. Ultimately, IGN concluded, for anyone at Shift Up Corporation who felt personally targeted and insulted by this passage, we are truly sorry and apologize profusely. So here's the thing. I know for a fact that they would likely have never apologized or modified this passage if it wasn't for people on Twitter and YouTubers calling out this section. But
yeah, they feel the need to because it got, you know, it might affect their money or their perception of people who give them money. So then they are sorry for sure.
you know what? It's something. Give credit where credit is due. IGN did apologize and modify that section, so at least there's something there. Now, here's some other news coming out about Stellar Blade. Some good news. So, as Niche Gamer here reports,
Ooh, nice.
Stellar Blade won't have microtransactions or hidden fees according to its developer. So he said this: we want to make it clear at this point that Stellar Blade will not require gamers to spend any additional money beyond what they paid for the package. The only exception to this is if we create collaborative costumes with third-party IPs.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Those may be sold for a fee. Also, there is no new Game Plus in the launch version, but that will be coming very soon.
Ooh, awesome.
This decision is a complete
Huge
reversal
W.
of another recent big release, Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, if you guys don't know about that, that was an absolute disaster with the amount of microtransactions that came along with that game. I'm pretty sure you have to pay a $5 fee just to move your character. Now,
oh my god, alright, Rev's wrong here. Alright, here I am disagreeing with Rev. Dun dun dun! I don't think Rev has played Dragon's Dogma, so just keep this in mind. But since I have played Dragon's Dogma, the microtransactions are not bad. They set a bad precedent for the gaming industry by having them. But you do not need any of them to play the game to the fullest. And a lot, like 90% of the things in there, you can get by just playing the game at all for like a few hours. Like, you really don't need them. And like the ones that are there are like $2. Each one of them is like $2. Now, do I think that they should have them? No. But they are not like that egregious. Out of all the games with microtransactions, like, it's not a great thing, but like my biggest hot take is like if they were really this bent out of shape about it, they should have been a lot more loud when like Monster Hunter came out about it.
I'm exaggerating, but only a little. That's the crazy thing. I'm only exaggerating a little, but it's very clear that Stellar Blade is not going to be bogged down with microtransactions, which is something that I know a lot of gamers will definitely appreciate.
This is definitely a win. I also don't really feel like this is 100% Rev's fault. There was so many articles going on about how bad they were. So many clickbaity, like, oh my god, the microtransactions.
But moving forward, with all this positive news about Stellar Blade, it probably also doesn't come as a surprise that the director of Stellar Blade is actually a bit concerned about the public perception of this game in the West. In an interview, they were asked this question. Related to this, some Western media outlets have expressed their discomfort with the portrayal of female characters in Stellar Blade. Are you aware of these issues? Where Kim would reply saying, I know that in the West, game characters have to reflect realistic appearances in many ways.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Absolutely not. Where did you get that idea? Who's gonna tell them? No.
Issues like gender and racial diversity are intertwined. However, Stellar Blade is only a cultural and entertainment product. I hope you will keep an eye on this as a fun action game has just been released. So basically what the director is saying is, please understand our game simply exists as something that is a fun action game for your entertainment.
Yeah, that's all it needs to be because it's a video game. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't claim to be anything else. It doesn't claim to represent anything else. It doesn't have, like, an ulterior motive underneath. It's just a game that's meant to be enjoyed and is entertainment.
It is very sad
it's not that deep,
someone,
chill.
especially at a Korean studio like this, has to tell people in the West that their game is supposed to be for fun and not some political or societal statement on something. It's just a fun game. That's really concerning that they have to worry about this and how it will be perceived in the West. And a lot of that is thanks to game journalists who are attacking this product and the character designs from Stellar Blade. But of course, as Mark Kern would point out here, while people are concerned about the Western journalists slamming this game, Here are the pre-order lists, all the countries where you can pre-order Stellar Blade. So of course, if you stand with this company, its director, and its product, go ahead and pre-order this game. Let's show it a lot of support because Stellar Blade is definitely going through the ringer with all of these corrupt game journalists and wackadoos on Twitter.
I wonder if this really just is gonna boost their sales. That's my guess. I wonder if it's just gonna work against them in this case and bring more popularity where it wouldn't have had viewership over from the outrage of people being stupid.
Who are trying to attack this game simply for having an attractive female lead. But moving forward, Lunar here would report another finding, another game journalist lying about Gamergate and also the Sweet Baby Inc. situation.
Oh
so
boy.
Radio Canada, the French CBC, has put out a hit piece on Cabrutus. Now, if you don't remember, Cabrutus is the individual who started the Steam group Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. You can see the very simple message for letting people know if a game is involved with this company. That is it. He made that curation list, and now he's been spending a lot of time making content, doing interviews. He's doing a really good job. However, how would this article frame Cabrutus and who he is and what his role is and all of this stuff? No, they would not call him the guy who created the curation group on Steam. This is what they would call him.
Oh boy.
The founder of Sweet Baby Inc. Detected movement and leader of the cyber harassment campaign. Ah, yes. Ironic because this same article, like every other article about the Sweet Baby Inc. situation, fails to mention the initial harassment campaign started by a Sweet Baby Inc. employee that started all of these events. All of the dominoes fell with that situation. And they failed to mention that in this article and instead labeled Cabrutus as the leader of the cyber harassment campaign for simply listing off games that Sweet Baby Inc. has publicly listed on their own website.
Yeah, that's pretty dirty. That's pretty dirty for just, adding that in the small... I like how it's in tiny text at the bottom. Like, tiny text makes it so much more of a passive-aggressive attack for some reason at the bottom of this note card.
Absolutely insane. Journalism at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. But moving on, let's go back to Mark Kern. So Mark Kern has been very involved in this ongoing Gamergate situation, covering a lot of the related information, and he's had a lot of back and forths, a lot of jabs exchanged between himself and Alyssa Mercanti, Merchant. I don't know. Nobody knows how to say her last name, but basically he would make this joke on April Fool's Day, saying that everyone is invited to their wedding. Love conquers all, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see. But of course, based on the back and forth arguments between these two, this is a joke. It's an April Fool's joke. But there was one person who didn't find this very funny, and that was, of course, Alyssa, who encouraged her followers to report this tweet for, I guess, harassing her. Well, that's some pretty Weenie Hut Jr. levels of harassment and tolerance for this kind of stuff. This tweet, of all things. Meanwhile, she has spent many times attacking Mark, making fun of his physical appearance, making fun of his age, and other things. But this...
I didn't realize that shots were fired beforehand. Jeez. This is all he said is, like, an April Fool's joke about getting married when she's, like, attacked every ounce of his being. Weenie Hut Jr. levels of harassment. Yeah, it's the Weenie Hut Jr. levels.
This was too far. I mean, come on. Let's be real. It's just because you don't like him and you want to see his tweets get taken down. Well, also on top of that, Mark Kern would point out that there was community notes suggested for his tweet. People were trying to add a label onto this tweet, including this one right here. Whilst an April Fool's Day joke, Kern is engaging in a continued harassment campaign against Mercante, which under U.S. law is defined as repeated or continuing uninvited contact, creating alarm, annoyance, or emotional distress. Now, of course,
if I ever get harassed by someone, I hope that this is what's happening and nothing else. I hope that's what it would mean. Oh my gosh.
This note wouldn't make it because the community note system on Twitter is actually a pretty strong one and tends to work out pretty well in the court of public opinion. Crazy notes like this tend to not make it. And there was other ones suggesting that this wasn't harassment at all.
I
But
like how there's a context needed, and then there's like another there's a context under a context. I like what the one underneath it says, though. It says, "This isn't harassment. Please don't get in the habit of devaluing that phrase." Yeah, that is a good take, because he may have said something that you didn't like, but he did not. He didn't even say anything bad about her. She was already poking the crap out of him.
anyways, that note would get knocked down, and of course, his tweet would not get reported or in any way harmed by these false reports. But moving forward, let's take a moment to look at something else that happened that affected Mark. So he reported that there was a tsunami, an earthquake, and a related tsunami that hit his hometown in Taiwan.
Yep.
So of course, he would take a break from talking about video game situations and drama to focus on this tragedy and to make sure that his family and friends from his hometown are okay. That seems...
It turns out that internet nothing burger drama about video games and stuff like this is interesting, but it actually is not that deep. So, like, obviously, like, even though he likes to have some banter on the internet, this is an actual real life thing, a scary thing, and like... So yeah, he's probably going to not really care about keeping up with internet drama.
Seems like a very reasonable thing to do. However, the absolute psychopaths that are supporting these game journalists would use this as an opportunity to attack Mark Kern for being concerned about the lives of his friends and family affected by this earthquake and tsunami. Here's some of the replies. This user saying, "Hey Grums, I heard your family is living with SpongeBob now." This one saying, "Engagement farming his family's possible deaths. You made a 7 post about it, back to back, talking about taking a break, just letting you know it's karma. The KKK actually killed people." What is this guy talking about?
This is why I don't like poking the bear, even if it's deserved, because the amount of people that are around them that are actually crazy lunatics will end up, like, in my orbit. Like, they will end up taking aggro on my side, and I'm like, oh, no.
Then this one saying,
nutty.
"Who lives in a swell at the bottom of the sea? Grums, his whole family." And this guy says, "Your entire timeline is quote tweeting this dude. He really got into your feels, didn't he?" Where they said, "I was hoping Pussy Boy would take the bait, but I guess he's too busy now with renting scuba gear." Yes,
Dude, that is what he said, because a real life thing happened called an earthquake. Your weird, offensive take, he's actually not reading it. Yeah, because it turns out that he meant that. He's going outside. Your opinion and bad take and insult doesn't matter. Random Twitter user, like...
The normal people, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating the potential harm caused to his family because they don't like his takes about video games. Yes, the normal people.
Yeah.
But moving forward, we've seen a lot of other tweets like this, trying to give their opinion on this entire situation involving Stellar Blade, saying, "Anyone else starting to feel awkward about liking Stellar Blade?
No.
The public discourse and perception is becoming a bit weird." Yes, I will tell you this, you should never feel awkward for enjoying a piece of media, in particular a video game, because of public perception about it. And in this case,
it's not even public perception. It's a weird Twitter ecosystem that I don't think exists anywhere else. I don't think it's this deep anywhere else. I literally only think it's on Twitter.
People going absolutely rabid over the character designs and the fact that this game is a clash between what we're expecting with video game releases in the West currently. And I don't like how people think it's becoming weird to like this. Don't allow game journalists or anyone else out there to change your perception of what you should be able to enjoy. The people being psychotic about the situation should not control the narrative. And I think it's absolutely crazy that people are afraid to say they like this game because of X, Y, or Z.
This is not a big deal. It's just a video game.
At the end of the day, go enjoy the game. And I'm telling you, millions of people will, without having any thought of Twitter in their minds as they purchase Stellar Blade. I expect the sales of Stellar Blade to be very, very strong and it to be a very well-received game. I mean, the demo itself is doing really, really well and has been praised across the board by people who want to look beyond just their own insecurity about the character designs and how it makes them feel. The people
This is probably like literally a few people on Twitter compared to the vast majority who just played the game and don't even know this is happening. Or just think it's funny that it's happening, kind of like just watching a shit show go while they eat popcorn and play it anyway.
actually play the game are saying the gameplay is really solid and enjoyable. So I expect the game
is
to do
good.
really well.
Game
And
will do
again,
well.
don't let anyone affect whether or not you're going to enjoy this game or be able to say that you enjoy this game. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed another round of Gamergate related drama. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Guys, pretty girls, they're OP. Pretty girls are overpowered. They're getting stronger by the day, I swear. That's what I've learned today. Mua, 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 mua.